We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome to November. College football poll. The new one is out. The World Series. Swinging Texas's way. They did something never done before. We'll talk about that in a second. And the Grizz hope to find their first win in the Wasatch Mountains surrounding Salt Lake City. That game with the Utah Jazz is tonight. I got to start with this. I don't know. This is sort of bugging me. I mean, I'm not bugged. I'm sad. What's happened to Halloween? Am I the only one thinking this? I shouldn't. I was just talking with our production man extraordinaire, Zeke, Big Zeke. And we were talking, he got 20, 25 people in West Memphis, where he used to get 100 people that would come. When I moved into East Memphis years ago, 20-something years ago, we used to get a whole lot of people. Last night, I don't know, maybe 10? What's happened to trick-or-treating? Did this change around COVID? Is this another thing that COVID affected, or is this just such dangerous times now that parents don't want their kids out after dark to go to people's houses anymore? And that could very well be a fair thing. It's kind of bad for me, too, because now there's always a whole bunch of candy, and I mean good candy. We're talking Butterfingers, Reese's. We're talking, no, Snickers this year. My wife dropped the ball on that. But because I love those Snickers. But, I mean, still lots of good candy around the house, which is not good for me. And, by the way, a bunch of Dinstals that I got thanks to the Memphis Convention and Visitors Bureau for emceeing the Sports Hall of Fame. So I got so much candy, I don't know what to do with it all, Zach Boyd. I really don't.
Oh, put in your personal stash and save it for a rainy day.
That's not good for me. When you're short and you don't exercise as much as you used to, that's dangerous stuff. I can remember an old news director in Cape Girardeau when I was skinny. In the late 70s, early 80s, you know what he called donuts? Fat pills. That's right.
Really?
Eat enough of those, you'll get fat quick. Probably. Oh. Promise. Fat pills. So candy's not good for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might could be a combination of the two between COVID and then I guess kind of not being safe. But I would say last night was really cold last night, so
it was freezing.
I understand if parents wanted just to say, yeah, we're probably not going to do it this year. It's too cold.
This morning when I woke up, it was 29 degrees outside.
Yes.
I mean, we really do. And I will say this, I kind of liked it. Last night when we finally gave up and I went out there to douse my wife carves a pumpkin, and we have a candle in there every year. So we're inviting trick-or-treaters in. When we gave up, I guess it was about 8:30, 8:45, I went to blood, and I said, this really does feel like fall. It was, I don't mind the gloom. It wasn't raining. It was, I guess, cloudy as clear as could be today, but it just felt like Halloween. Should have been a perfect day for Halloween. But anyway, so they revealed the college football poll. Michigan, much to my chagrin, makes it in. Tulane inches ahead of Air Force in the poll, so they would be in it. There was a really cool 12-team playoff, I believe, because the top four get byes, that Oregon was going to take on Tulane. I think Tulane could compete in that. I mean, they are the 12th seed. That's what the group of five is always going to get, but I just hope they always keep getting one. And we'll talk with Steve Earhart just in a little bit about all of that. Stats Norsworthy will join us at 10:25, and then it's sort of all SEC on Wednesdays because our other SEC historian, Ron Higgins, joins us from Baton Rouge, and there is a big football game this weekend. Alabama in Tuscaloosa hosts LSU. The point spread in that game is 3. Alabama's favored. That's like the home field, so that's pretty much a pick-em game. Cannot wait for that. We'll get both stats and Ron Higgins' view of that. By the way, Ole Miss playing A&M at home. They're 3-point favorites. That, again, pretty much a pick-em game. Should be good. We'll touch on SEC hoops just a little bit as well. Back-to-back 5 spots early in the game. So that's the first time in World Series history that a team has had 2 straight 5-run innings. And the most interesting aspect about both those 5-run innings, they both were with 2 outs. All the 10 runs scored in the, second and third innings in Arizona last night, all came with 2 outs. Can you believe that? That's like impossible.
Yeah, because you 1 out away from closing out the inning.
I know.
So,
I felt bad for Arizona. Texas now up 3-1. They look like they're in pretty good control because they've won those 2 games in Arizona. 1 more in Arizona. I think the Diamondbacks take tonight, but then they're not going to win 3 in a row. I don't think. And they'd have to do it with 2 on the road at Texas. And Texas actually, this is not like Houston that had a poor home field advantage.
Yeah.
Texas had not a great home field advantage, but a good one. And I don't see how Texas comes back in this thing, especially without Adolis Garcia, who, by the way, had apparently a very stirring pregame speech that got the Rangers going.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, didn't the Cardinals, weren't the Cardinals down 3-1 against the Rangers?
I don't think it was 3-1. Might have been. I know that the Rangers had the game won until craziness. They were 1 pitch away from winning the World Series in Game 6. So they might have been not 3-1. There have been people there have been teams that have come back from 3-1. It can happen. It can happen. But don't forget, St. Louis was at home for Game 6 and 7. Right? The Diamondbacks, if they were to win tonight, would have to win 3 games in a row with 2 of them in Texas.
Right.
So that makes the odds even tougher.
Yeah, so the Rangers were up 3-2 in Game 5 at home, and then St. Louis took the next 2 at home.
At home. So it was 3-2, not 3-1.
Right. Yeah, because this is game.
So tonight is Game 5.
Yeah, Game 5. So the Diamondbacks got to win 3. Like you said, they got
3 in a row, 2 on the road, gonna be tough. So it's Eovaldi on the mound tonight against Zach Gallen, and not over yet, but I think if you're a Texas Rangers fan, you feel pretty darn good. That is for certain. Tonight, the Grizz. They are in Utah. I mentioned yesterday, to me, they lost that basketball game at home to Dallas because they couldn't play any defense. So they got 30 from Bain, 30 from Jaren Jackson Jr., 23 from Marcus Smart with 9 assists. 83 points from 3 guys. They had 110. The bench came up with only 13 points. So not only did they play poor defense, those were the only 3 that scored in double figures, but nothing from the bench. Now, look, you're down 2 starters, right? Adams and Ja.
Yep.
You're down a guy that might have been a starter who's critical to your rotation, Santi Aldama. You're down Brandon Clark. We seem to forget about Clark because he's not coming back till the end of the year if he comes back at all this year, right?
Right.
And your center, Tillman, didn't get to double figures, and I really like Xavier Tillman. I think he's a terrific backup center. But if you're going to rely on him, he was 0 for 5 from three-point shooting. They want him to shoot more threes. I don't quite understand that. That's part of the way they want the offense That's kind of like we're going to take a round marble and put it in a square hole. You know, you're playing a scheme that personnel doesn't match, in my estimation, but that's what they're doing. And Zaire Williams had a bad night, a terrible night for D. Rose. Your bench, 13 points. That's it. By the way, the Mavs had 39 points from their bench. Tim Hardaway Jr. had more points than the entire Memphis bench. He's their sixth man. He had 21. The Grizzlies bench had 13. When you play poor defense and you get no other scoring except from three guys, tough sledding. They'll have to be a whole lot better. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Select sets of patio furniture, 50% off on the newest sale. It's the Overstock sale. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. What they want to do is bring new stuff, so they're enticing you with an Overstock sale to clear out all their Overstock inventory. It's that simple. You can get Play Gyms for under $2,000. They have an extended sale price on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas, and believe me, there's a lot of stock. And if you want to close up your pool, 30% off on the items to close your pool. And with 29 degrees at night last night, you need to close the pool if you're going to do it. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Take advantage of this Overstock sale where family and fun always come together. That's Family Leisure. And you know that our title sponsor, we're so proud of it too, is Genesis of Olive Branch. That is right there at the corner of Craft Road at Highway 78. It's the first exit in Mississippi off what is really Lamar. You know, it's so easy to get there. They fix those roads. They're fixing them all the time. It's going to really zoom. But right now, no traffic jams anymore. Easy to get there, and turn left when you get to Craft Road. Then talk to my guy, Vinny Gerard. You'll like him. If you like hockey, he'll talk your ear off because he's a Canadian, but he's been here forever. Vinny's cool, and he's really good at explaining what they're trying to do. They've got this GV70 and GV80. Those are the SUVs that the great luxury car Genesis is now producing. I mean, this is the newest technology. We love new technology. You can't get better than this. And they've got special pricing and special financing. Just ask Vinny. Go see him at the great Genesis of Olive Branch. As always, on Wednesdays, we speak with our buddy, that Big Cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We had the reveal last night of the college football playoff poll. What was your first thoughts when you saw it, Steve Eric? Good morning.
Good morning, David, and glad to be here with you. But, yeah, now remember, this changes every week now up until the Sunday after the conference championship games there in December. But let's take a look at this first run at that and try and my impression, I was trying to figure out, okay, how is it going to work next year when we have the new playoff system? So here's how, in my opinion, how it breaks down. I might be missing something here, but remember, next year you get the numbers 1 through 4 get a first-round bye.
Correct.
And then numbers 5 through 8, they play a home game in the first round, and what would be the first round. So let's take a look at that. So Washington is the number 5 listed there. So
right.
if this were to hold up, they'd play a home game, and you'd look at who's number 12. Number 12 is Missouri. But wait,
oh, no.
you have the exception. You have the exception for the highest ranked Group of 5 team, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But right now, the highest ranked Group of 5 team is Tulane. So Tulane would travel and play at Washington, and then the number 6 team is Oregon. So they would host. So you look back the next down the line there, and there's Penn State at
right.
number 11.
Yep.
So Penn State would be playing at Oregon. Then you go to number 7 is Texas, so they would host a game, and guess what? They'll be playing Ole Miss
right.
at Texas in the first round. And then number 8 is Alabama, and they would be playing against Oklahoma. So it would be quite a lineup there back on the campuses for the first round, and then
Oklahoma Ole Miss winner gets Ohio State at this point.
That's right. So that then you've got one versus the winner of those games, 1, 2, 3, 4, and those games will be played in the bowl games, what we call the New Year's Six bowl games.
Right.
You know, they would host the quarterfinal rounds, and then there would be those are list 4 bowls. Then the next week there'd be the semifinal games, which were not that they would be played in the last 2 bowls of the New Year's Six bowl games, and then you'd have the championship game at the neutral site there, and it's almost mid-January by the time that lines up. But
let's go back for just 1 second before you move on. The Tulane Washington game, right? That would
Correct.
be in Seattle at this point. Do
That's right.
you believe they'll ever take away that first round home field advantage and give that to another set of bowls? Because that would be, 4 games that could go to bowl games.
Well, we would certainly like that. And the Bowl Association, we promoted it as much as we can and bang the drum. It's better to have a neutral site. It's better to have a site like a bowl site where you can prepare. You have hotels ready for the fans, because you're only going to get, very short notice. But these athletic directors, they're salivating at the opportunity to have another, quote, home game, tie their season ticket sales to a playoff game, so that in your case in Washington, they're at it just like the pros do. The Grizzlies, when you buy a Grizzlies ticket, you're not sure they're going to be in the playoffs, but you're sucked in to line up to get that home playoff site too. So I think these athletic directors are going to be so powerful to say, no, this is going to be a success, because if you look at that again, if this plays out next year, you got Alabama, Texas, Oregon, and Washington. They'll all have huge sellouts and at premium prices. So I don't think it'll happen. I think the ADs will be too strong, but I think it would be better to have a neutral site, because pretty quick, one of these Southeast Conference teams who hate going to the North are going to have to play a game at Michigan in the snow. And then they may say, well, maybe it would have been better to play in the Sugar Bowl there with an indoor stadium. But
but my other point is, okay, what about Ohio State? They're saying, oh, wow, we would play, most likely, Washington against Tulane. I think Tulane could compete, but let's just say it's Washington. They're going, look, Washington just had a home game. We want the home game. We want that money.
Yeah, exactly. And that could be where, and that was a big debate when the committee, of course, Bob Bowlesby, Craig Thompson, they've all retired now. So the committee that was made up, and the guy at Notre Dame is retiring too. So 3 out of the 4 members. Now, Greg Sankey was on that committee, and then Gregel, he's a great commissioner for the SEC. He's maybe the most powerful guy in college sports, so he's already sent the warning signals up that, he's going to have a fight for the SEC, which he should. So, but I did want to talk a little bit, because there's a pitch battle right now going on between the American Conference and the Mountain West Conference. Who's going to get that coveted spot, which is big money, and the presence in the playoff? Just like last year, Tulane got into the Cotton Bowl and beat USC, and before that, Cincinnati was getting in there, and Memphis got in several years ago when they played in Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. So right now, it's the highest ranked G5, if we call it that.
But it's got to be a champion, right?
Got to be the champion of your league,
right.
And so that takes into account. You could have a higher ranked champion with more losses. But right now, the Mountain West, they thought for sure Air Force is going to be ahead of Tulane, because in all the AP polls, coaches polls, undefeated Air Force was sitting there, and Tulane, of course, had that loss to Ole Miss. But I give credit to the American Conference. They fought hard. I know they had been meeting with the committee. Now, every conference has assigned, I think it's 2 members of the CFP, the playoff committee, to interact and get information from that conference about their team. So I give credit to the American. They pounded the table and said, wait a minute, Tulane, their only loss was to the 11th ranked. I think Ole Miss is ranked, what are they ranked? 11th, they're 10th, whatever they're ranked.
They're 10th.
To a ranked team when they didn't have their quarterback, and they beaten, and Memphis came into play here because they said, well, they beat on the road a Memphis team that had a winning record, and so they were able to prevail. So in some ways, everybody thought it was a little bit of an upset. On the other hand, I give credit to the American. They said Tulane had played a tougher schedule. in the American, and that win at Memphis meant a lot. And so that'll be a battle all the way to the finish line.
Let's examine that a little bit closer, okay? I don't believe Air Force has too many good games in front of them. I don't think they're running the table. And let's just say Memphis or Texas, San Antonio, SMU's in the picture too. Let's just say they beat Tulane. One of these teams beats Tulane along the way. I'm not worried about Air Force because I think they're going to lose. Here's my thought. What about Liberty in Little CUSA? Liberty has not lost a game. I look at their schedule. Liberty is going to go undefeated. Could a 2-loss American team upset a perfect CUSA Liberty and still get into that spot? Well, of course, it really doesn't matter this year because there is no spot. But hypothetically, I don't see how that would happen.
Well, Dave, your analysis is correct, but there is a spot for the Group of 5 champion to play in the New Year's Day 6,
right?
Which is don't discount that. That's a lot of money to the conference,
no
and
kidding.
A lot of prestige,
and
just
to
like
the school.
what happened with Tulane,
right?
But I still think, again, I think the voters on the committee is not the voters, but the committee people have already signaled that the toughness of the schedule by putting Tulane ahead of an undefeated Air Force, that the strength of schedule and the wins against quality opponents make a difference. And you're right, Air Force probably doesn't have the same kind of tough schedule. Now, they'll have a championship game they got to play out there as well. But I think the door is wide open for the champion of the American. And there's still a pathway for the University of Memphis to be the champion.
Well, they can't lose.
Need to,
right. They can't
They
lose.
got to run the table, and then if they win the conference championship, they'd be the champion of the toughest, so to speak, non-power conferences. And even though they would have 2 losses in this hypothetical, they would have beaten Tulane to kind of cancel out their early season. And then their only loss is on the road to Missouri, which is a ranked team right now. So Memphis would have a decent argument, even at, say, that theory would be 11-2. So I hope that the Tigers, keep their eye on the ball and keep winning.
Yeah, me too.
Because, and again, I know you're on the call every week there, but I think that Memphis fans should, get behind the Tigers and say, hey, we're still in the hunt here, even though that was a disappointing loss. And, of course, that was a miracle win there, but that happens. Every team goes through that.
I believe there's 4 that are still in the hunt in the American. SMU, I think, is pretty good. Their losses are to TCU and to Oklahoma, is it? I think that's their 2 losses to, decent teams for sure. Oklahoma's a New Year's Day 6 bowl team at this moment. And Texas, San Antonio got back their quarterback, Frank Harris. They've become a different team. They haven't lost in the league yet. And obviously Tulane's in the driver's seat. So we'll all have to wait and see how that plays out. Here's my dilemma as the champion of the underdog. If you got a perfect Liberty that's 13-0, I don't know. Or even a James Madison that's getting totally screwed. It's crazy. Anyway, we will talk AutoZone Liberty Bowl matchup next week, I promise, but we are out of time as always.
Okay, well, we look forward to, December 29th, the 65th consecutive AutoZone Liberty Bowl, a great event for our town, and I want to thank all the folks that have worked so hard. We're making a big presentation at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital tomorrow, so thanks to everybody who's worked so hard.
Leak it. What are you giving?
I can't leak it to you, David.
Oh, come on.
But you know that tomorrow at noon we'll be down there at St. Jude's campus making a nice presentation.
Little birdie told me it's very significant. I guess we'll have to tune in tomorrow.
That's true. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That is Steve Earhart, Big Cheese, head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We'll be back in just 1 minute with Brett Norsworthy, who's coming live from Forest City. You don't want to miss that. He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
As you know, the holiday season is fast approaching, and as you also probably know, 117 Prime, Memphis' premier dining destination, now has its menu available for takeout. Now, far be it from us to ever suggest that somebody could, theoretically, order a full dinner from 117 Prime and then pass it off as their own cooking at a holiday meal. We all agree that doing so would be unethical. It would be just plain wrong. But think about how much effort you could save by having 117 Prime make dinner, and then you get to reap all the rewards. Again, it would be wrong.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Cooling or heating system on the fritz? Dripping faucet? Call the pros at Conway Services today and we'll waive the service call fee with any HVAC or plumbing repair. Expert technicians available 7 days a week. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19688.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in, Forest City. Let's go there. Our friend Brett Norsworthy. You listen to him every day on Sports Time from 3 to 6 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM joins us. I got this simple question. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are people upset that, Ole Miss is 7-1? They're only 10 in the poll. They lost to Alabama by 2 touchdowns. They gave up 49 points to LSU in a win. They only beat Arkansas, which is struggling like crazy, could only score a field goal last week. They only beat them by 7. They only beat Hugh Freeze and Auburn by a touchdown. Are people upset? They barely covered against Vandy. Are people upset with Lane Kiffin?
No, we're ecstatic and really look forward to this November with Lane Kiffin and a chance to really make it maybe the most memorable November ever for Lane Kiffin and for Jackson Dart. And I know it's more than just the quarterback position, but we know how dominant that position is now in college football, and you have to have you have to have a magic man back there. And Jackson Dart has an opportunity with games at home against A&M, at home against Louisiana Monroe, and road trips to Georgia, and road trips against the biggest rival. He has a chance at the end of this month to be in that elite club of all-time Ole Miss quarterbacks. I think it's the two Mannings, I think it's Chad Kelly, and I think it's Matt Corral. And Jackson Dart has that opportunity on this first day of November, on the last day of November, for his name to firmly be ensconced with those legends.
I am so glad. Hope this all works out for Ole Miss. This is a much better year than any of us had expected. But that Ole Miss fans at least are like more old school fans, because Memphis fans would be upset. They only beat Auburn by a touchdown. They only beat Arkansas, terrible Arkansas team, by a touchdown. I mean,
I know you're being facetious, but
I'm very serious, because that's the way it is with Memphis fans. They win late finish games, and people are upset. It's wild.
I think those Memphis fans that are voicing that have a very warped sense of where the sport is now. It's very narrow out there. The portal has made it that way. You look around the country and what one score would do to a lot of these games. Look at Kansas with a backup quarterback last week. Yeah. Backup quarterback. That's
crazy.
Not even the guy that led them to the Liberty Bowl last year, with the backup quarterback. And he didn't play that great and that steady that day, but it came down to kind of a nuanced one-score game. The Ole Miss biggest win of the year, again, this year was LSU. Yeah. And you change a couple of plays in that one, down 9 with 5 minutes to go, and still won by 6. So that's how narrow it is, and I think people should really appreciate winning. It's the object of the sport, and right now Ole Miss has done it 7 out of 8 times, and the biggest game of the year coming up Saturday morning, bright and early, 11 o'clock against A&M.
So if we had a playoff this year, the 10 seed, not bad.
This time next year, it'd be pretty good.
Here's what I thought was really interesting. Bob Bowlesby and I believe Greg Sankey concurred. If we look next year at the beginning of the season, knowing there are 12 spots available, and for sure a group of 5 team is going to get in, his statement was there will be 30 to 35 teams that have a legitimate shot. Like most of the time we say, with a 4-team playoff, there's like 6-8 teams at the most that have a real shot, right? This is 30 to 35, which quadruples what the normal normally is. I think that's about right, too. I'm curious about you.
I think it's a little heavy, but okay, let's go with it. Let's go with that. Fine. It just makes a great sport even greater. That on November 1, a year from now, you've got 30 out there dreaming of getting in that 12-team field. You've got, I would say, out of that 30, you'll have 7 or 8 dreaming of being in those protected seeds that would get that first round bye. Then you would have that next group that would have about 15 in it that would be seated to where they hosted a home game. Think how historic that will be, even for these places like the Horseshoe in Columbus, State College, PA at Beaver Stadium, even Tuscaloosa at Bryant-Denny. Next year, there will be a first-round playoff game played in those stadiums. I submit that will be the biggest game ever played on a lot of those campuses. Let's say a year from now, Ole Miss worked its way into being a 6 seed, and you're hosting. That would be the 6 would be hosting
5.
The 11. 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11.
Yeah.
So this year that would be. Who that would probably be somebody like
hold on.
Penn State?
I got it right here. Yeah, I think it is Penn State. Hold on. I will give it to you exactly.
Can you imagine next December 15th, whatever date it is, in Oxford, Mississippi, a home game,
Penn State.
Ole Miss hosting Penn State?
Yeah. That'd be something. Well, if it was this year, it would be Oregon, Penn State, right?
Today it would be, but we're going to have a lot of movement this year. Dave, I never get too exercised over that first release last night. I think it's mostly schlock and promotion. That's fine. But I know the best way to stay in the conversation is to keep winning. If Ole Miss doesn't win Saturday, it's out of the conversation. If you want to be taken seriously, be serious.
Isn't it, I want to say, I read this somewhere, but from the first release, only 2 teams usually make the playoff, right? Half of them don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big elimination that we're getting ready to start, and I think the Pac-12 is getting ready to devour itself. I think the Big 12 will, especially if Oklahoma State wins the last Bedlam. If you have any upsets in the ACC, then you have the very real chance in a year that I think legitimately feel like the SEC is a smidge down. Ron Higgins, coming up after me, makes a great case. It's perceived and it's really down because the quarterback play in the SEC is not great this year. There's just a couple of really good quarterbacks. But if you have SEC with even 2 teams involved in a year it's perceived as down, that's one of the real noteworthy things the SEC would have accomplished in a year that everybody, even SEC hacks like me, agree that it's down and still maybe get 2 in. That would be some achievement.
Ohio State and Michigan will play each other. One of them will lose. I 100% guarantee that.
Guarantee it.
But they only play once. They don't play in the championship
That's right.
game.
They will not rematch.
Do you believe that you could get both of them in? Do you think Michigan should even be in?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. You're like the Deion Sanders, and I got to point this out. No, but I haven't talked about this yet. This is good, though. I asked Matt Barnes about Deion Sanders and his statement. And Matt Barnes, who always talks truth, the Memphis defensive coordinator, who came from Ohio State, He looked at me and he goes, well, I agree with Deion. He said, let me tell you something. We are, like I tell our players, we're going to get the defensive call in late. You've got to learn how to adjust really quickly to my call. It's going to be late. And here's why it's going to be late. He goes, when I see a formation well over 50%. Once I see the formation, I know what play they're going to call because he's done all the homework. He's seen what they call in that formation, in that situation.
That's what he did all summer.
He's better than 50% on what the call is. So he's saying, most of the time I know the call anyway. You still got to execute.
You got to stop it. You got to stop people. And now from this point on, okay, let's say Michigan's 100% guilty, and with every passing day I want to reserve the right to change my opinion on it, and that coach clandestinely, surreptitiously in the other team in Central Michigan gear scouting really added a new layer to it. That is as guilty as it can be, and that's impossible to defend.
Ball boys on the other sideline telling them what they're running.
Well, that's been done forever. but that assistant coach, the Marine doing that.
Yeah.
But so from this point going forward for Michigan, change your signs. Change your routine. That's all you got to do.
Well, I asked Ryan Silverfield how often he changed it. He said we change our signals every 2
Constantly.
weeks. Every 2 weeks.
It's the biggest canard out there, but it is a really bad look.
It's terrible. Well, let's face it. Jim Harbaugh's gone. That's another 100% Wolo guarantee.
I think I'm with you, although they are talking that new deal. Isn't it great, Dave, these college football coaches, that when things are going well, they're the ultimate CEO. They know they know how much the electricity bill is in the building. They know everything about their players. They know diet. They know workouts. They know routine. Then when it goes terribly wrong, well, I didn't know anything going on. The night janitorial staff knows more going on in my building than I do. I just work here.
Yeah. Like, he did not know that. He brings in a guy that has no football background, and he's hired, and he's on the sidelines. But
total military black ops. Total.
Right. He's all information.
Right.
He's an intelligence guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is so guilty. There's just no way around it.
There's no way around it.
Especially a guy that absolutely has his pulse on
Rick
everything
Pitino,
that happens.
A prostitution ring in my dorm?
Oh, yeah.
I had no clue.
Right. And he's still coaching, so
yeah.
I don't know.
And he's a great coach.
Oh, he is a great coach. And Harbaugh's a great coach.
And Jim Harbaugh is a great football coach.
No doubt.
And I think a good man, but it was trying to cut an edge that a lot are probably taking. But everybody's doing it. Your boys walk in and go, Dad, everybody's doing it. You didn't really take that very well, did you?
No. He'll be a great coach for the Bears in next year.
Well, he's got great options. They say Magic Johnson wants him badly in D.C., It feels like something could happen with the Raiders now with last night's move.
Sure.
And even something with the Chargers. I mean, imagine Harbaugh working with Herbert.
Oof. Herbert's got an arm. The Bears made him look like he was Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, and Tom Brady all in one.
But Dave, you know this drill. Harbaugh's going to do what Pete Carroll did. He's going to leave it to the successor to sort it out with the NCAA.
Yeah. All right, last thing, very quick, because I always run out of time with you. That is the Tiger basketball team. I don't know if you went to the exhibition game. I know, and I got to keep this in mind. I mean, it was Lane College, and there was nobody taller listed than 6'6".
Yeah.
But I've not seen a Penny Hardaway team. I don't know that I've seen a team since 2008. And I'm including last year that could have gone to the Final Four if they gotten a timeout called. I'm not sure I've seen a better team since 8 in a Memphis uniform in terms of talent, with skill, in length, and
I'm
in
with you
bulk.
on November 1st, but on March 1st is when we got to be having this serious conversation, because this is the year Penny Hardaway has to make deep run. That means second weekend, Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament.
I agree.
And come April and May, the Memphis Grizzlies have to win a playoff series.
Well,
that's where we are with both basketball teams.
The Grizzlies got to win a game. They got to get some depth, and they got to play some defense. You can't give up 23 threes.
You're not going to Grizzlies and never win another game, are you?
No, I'm not going that. I wouldn't be shocked if they won a game tonight. But they've got they're a flawed team right now because they don't have enough players.
Yeah, and
they
that's why
don't have enough guys.
I don't crack on a player's performance because of injury or a team's performance. You got to get well and got to get Ja back. But Steven Adams isn't coming back. He's not walking through that door this year.
Look, let's face it. The three best guys they've got right now all played really well. Not just good, really well against Dallas, and they lost by 15.
Yeah.
So that tells
you something. They didn't
have
Kyrie.
Yeah, and that's right. That's without Kyrie. Yeah. Thank you, my friend, as always.
I
appreciate it. We'll talk
Have
next
a good
week.
One, Dave.
You got
Thank
it.
You,
that is our guy. That is the one and only Brett Norsworthy. Don't forget, you can listen to him every day from 3 to 6 on Sports Time right here. Time to start planning for holiday gifts, and I got the place. Yes. You know what? You're going to blink, and it's Thanksgiving because today's November 1st. Well, I can't wait for that feast. But I got to tell you, if you're going to start planning, the first place you should think of for holiday gifts would be Dinstall's. Who doesn't want that? Let Dinstall's make that easy for you this year. You call your favorite location, you see the variety of sweet expressions of your thank yous this year, and they take care. And you wouldn't believe the packaging, and I know firsthand. I mentioned how much, didn't I, Zach? I mentioned at the front end of this show that I had gotten this gift basket from Dinstall's from the Convention and Visitors Center for being one of the hosts of the Hall of Fame. You would not believe the way they package this stuff. And I got everything in there. I got turtlettes. It's like Becky knew this was for me. Cashew Crunch, pecan brittle, turtlettes. I got caramels. I got everything. I mean, everything, including a little chocolate guitar. It was unbelievable. That's what they'll do for you. Also, tailgate goodies for this week's games. If you're going to a high school playoff game, if you're coming to Tiger Lane for the Tigers, the best place to go. I'm giving you 5 of them for those sweet memories. I'm giving you 5 places. Laurelwood in my neighborhood, Pleasant View where they make it, Germantown, Collierville, downtown, that quaint little beautiful store. I love the way they did that. It's Dinstall's. 5 places to say, we love you. Sweet times are here with Dinstall's. Back in a minute, we go to Baton Rouge. Ron Higgins is standing by, and he's next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM. And 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time for the holidays.
Blah, humbug.
What, you're not all excited for the turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce?
The cooking, the cleaning, the relatives.
Well, you got people coming in from out of town?
Hi, so many people.
It'll be fun.
All I want to do is go to Central Barbecue.
That's all you ever want to do.
Alone.
Come on, it's the holidays.
Just sitting there in a booth all by myself, enjoying Central Barbecue, no family, being all festive.
Well, you enjoy your own private Central Barbecue holiday.
That is all I ask.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you've always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can't name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Baton Rouge we go, and our SEC historian Ron Higgins standing by. You got a big one this week in Tuscaloosa. I don't know if you're making the trip. I bet you are. They take on LSU, Alabama 3-point favorite, which means this is a pick'em game. What do you think will happen in this football game?
A lot of points. But LSU won't have enough of them.
LSU will have enough of them at the end of the game?
No, they won't. They'll lose. They'll lose by the spread of 3. I think that's what they'll lose by. Yeah. I have total confidence in LSU's offense. Zero confidence in the defense. The defense is starting a defensive backfield with two freshman cornerbacks who've played very little, and their backups are another freshman who's played very little and a sophomore who's played very little. So LSU's front seven will have to play outstanding for LSU to win. I think LSU can score. I think they can score on anybody, actually. But I don't think they can stop Alabama. And even though Alabama's offense is not a juggernaut, even though LSU's offense is ranked first in the nation in scoring and first in the nation in total yardage per game. I don't know if LSU's defense can. I mean, they're ranked like 88th in the nation, and 12th in total, and so it's a problem. LSU's back into their defense. There's no experience right now. The 3 transfers they have came in. One of them's hurt, who's their best one. The other 2 have been in Kelly's doghouse for like 3 weeks, so they're not going to play. So that's the situation. I mean, they're going in Tuscaloosa, but they're confident. They feel good about their chances because of their offense. And they'll just kind of see what happens.
College football playoff reveal yesterday. That had, by the way, LSU at 14, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State in, Washington on the outside looking in, still 8-0. You got 5 perfect teams. Not counting teams like Liberty, James Madison, all in leagues that aren't going to be a factor in all of this. You agree with those playoff rankings?
Right now they're all about the same. I don't think there's much separation at the top of the four teams in the playoff. I really don't. I mean, I think they're pretty much bunched together. I mean, you could flip them around a little bit. They'll all be the same. So before they have before they kind of separate themselves. So I think this was a rather easy first week for them. Whether they could have moved 1-2 or 2-1, 3-1, whatever. They could jumble up, and I don't think this week it really would have mattered because they're all kind of, to me, seeing all of them, they're all kind of the same. Nobody's been overly impressive. It'll be interesting to see how the Michigan thing plays out. They were. I know the chairman was asked about it. He said, that's an NCAA matter. That's not our matter. I kind of disagree with that, but that's what
the bottom line is this: the way the world works, the arm of justice will not swing a gavel until this season is over. How's that?
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, it took them like 4 years then to decide on, LSU's basketball stuff. So,
right.
How long is it going to take me to and you have evidence. I mean, obviously they have evidence in this Michigan case, but I would imagine Jim Harbaugh will probably be in the pros by the time Michigan gets nailed.
He'll be an NFL coach by the time when that occurs.
That's what always works.
Yeah.
You always get out ahead of the posse.
Yeah. A&M at Oxford this week. Ole Miss, just like in the LSU game, home field advantage, 3 points. That's what it is, pretty much a pick'em game. How do you see this one breaking down? Do you believe in Ole Miss? You saw that high-scoring game in Oxford between the Rebels and LSU.
Yeah, I do believe in Ole Miss. I think the offense speaks for itself. Defensively, they're better. And I don't think A&M's offense is good enough to beat Ole Miss. I really don't. So yeah, I believe in the Rebels. Yeah. It's another week where they're playing a team. I know Kiffin has built up A&M's talent to be all world, but Ole Miss is good enough to beat on both sides of the ball to beat A&M, and I think it's because I think Ole Miss's defense has really improved. I mean, throw the LSU game out, really for both teams, and Ole Miss has had a fine year defensively, a lot better than it has been. I think it's enabled Kiffin to probably run the ball more because he has faith in his defense that they will get teams off the field, and then I know Kiffin likes to. I know he likes to pass, but I think he's got a run game. I think he's played very smart football. I think he's really matured as a coach. I think he's grown into a program that he's figured out. He's kind of changed his offensive philosophy somewhat to more of an old school Alabama type, to where if your defense is playing well, why should we take risks and throw the ball a lot unless we have to? And I think he's been pretty smart about it. Actually, I think he's done a really good job. And he probably won't get named coach of the year. They'll probably go to Eli Drinkwitz in Missouri, who's done a really nice job. But I think Kiffin's done a really good job this year.
Speaking of which, Missouri's at Georgia, and Georgia is a huge favorite, 15.5. Is this the week of reckoning for Eli and the Missouri Tigers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can beat Georgia. I don't think anybody's going to beat Georgia the rest of this year. I mean, in the SEC. Even in the championship game, I think Georgia kind of reminds me of the old Alabama teams that they just kind of plod along, and they don't really care about the victory margin. And I mean, if they can win by a couple of touchdowns or 3 touchdowns or whatever, and it doesn't look overly impressive or exciting, they just got ground you to the ground and win. They grind you up, and when do you win? That's kind of like Georgia now. That's kind of like old school Alabama. I mean, I guess the pre-Kiffin days when Nick would hand the ball off and run over people and wear them out in the second half. Kind of like what Georgia does now.
Arkansas is at Florida. Not even going to go into detail about this one. Actually, it's less than a touchdown line, Florida being the home team and favored. But this has been a terrible year for Sam Pittman. Only a field goal last week against Mississippi State. Whoa. Does Pittman make it next year?
I think this is his 4th year. Is Sam Schwartz here this year?
I think it is. Does he have a fifth?
I don't know. I don't know if they can give him a fifth. I mean, most time it's always determined by this. You look at the amount of people in your home stand. Are the fans still showing up? They still have faith, or is it starting to empty out? That's always the sign that a change has to be made. If the fans lose faith in your team and they stop coming to games, it affects everything. It affects your program's perception, your recruiting. It's like this cancer that spreads. So, to me, it all depends on, how many fans are on the bandwagon at the end of the year. I mean, is there enough faith among the Arkansas people to show the AD, like, okay, we still believe in this guy? Or, it's like it always happens just everywhere. I mean, everywhere a guy ever gets fired, when the fans stop showing up and there's dissension and there's this perception the program's not very good, that just kills your recruiting, and then you're dead in the water. And so why not get rid of the coach and start all over again?
I like Sam Pittman. I have no idea how all this will turn out. He's such a nice guy, and I think
absolutely
the program likes him enough that he might get the benefit of the doubt.
I hope he does.
We'll see how.
I'll give him one more year.
Yeah, and we got to see how it all finishes out too. And I like your barometer. Look to see what's happening in the stands. That's our guy, Ron Higgins. Enjoy your trip to Tuscaloosa, my friend. We'll talk next week.
All right, take care. We'll see you.
Thank you. Ron Higgins, our SEC historian in Baton Rouge, brought to you by the good folks at Grind City Brewing, taking care of business in Memphis. This was a father-son concoction, a dream. And, boy, it's come true in a big way with great products like Poppy's Pills. That's the Pilsner that they say is just what the doctor ordered. You order 2 of these pills, you'll feel really good. You'll be calling the doctor for more. There's the God Hopper. That's the Pale Ale. There's the Amber Lager Thaddeus, a fairly new product. And the Blue Moonish thing, Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. Everybody likes going to visit Grind City, too. Now, you can get their products all over town, like at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. But I like going down there because it's such a cool place. You can picnic on their grounds. And inside, it's a modern-looking, cool building with a view of the bridges. It's just a taste of Memphis and a big part now of the Memphis DNA. It's Grind City Brewing, taking care of business in Memphis. That'll do it for us. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio comes your way in a matter of moments. Have a great day, everybody.
Memphis football is home Saturday, November 4th at 2 o'clock for homecoming against South Florida. Enjoy the pregame concert, mechanical bull riding, and Tiger tailgate on Tiger Lane before the game. Tickets start at just $20 as Memphis football continues to work toward a berth in the American Championship game. Be at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium Saturday, November 4th at 2. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
Start your day the